Executive Director of Grassroots Gardens of Western New York. Welcome to our new teaching garden. What we're planning on when you come back and visit us next year is here there will be this beautiful moon arch that's going to go in. That'll be a trellis and kind of the entrance to the garden. This will be all wheelchair accessible using rec mats that will support wheelchairs being able to come over the grass for wheelchair users. We're also going to be installing in these holes here, hopefully next week, we're going to be installing our sensory garden plant. And then as we move through the garden, the plan is to ensure that people of all differing needs can access the garden. So we have some wheelchair raised beds here that are accessible beds. We are also going to be installing other beds of varying heights. You know, we want the garden to be accessible to children, to be accessible to adults, to be accessible to elders. Back here we have our greenhouse that a family in Eden kindly donated to us. We moved into this building a year ago, and having the vacant lot attached to it was one of the things that attracted us here. So the greenhouse is actually going to get turned over here, and in the spring will be used for teaching people how to grow seedlings. When you come back next year, we hope to have our new rain garden installed. We were able to secure a grant with Push Buffalo and the Buffalo Sewer Authority, the Coppertown Block Club, and a number of other partners to install rain gardens throughout the community. If you visit the William Street Medium just a couple blocks over from us, you'll see rain gardens that the city has installed there. And we're kind of expanding on that to have a community teaching effort that connects the history, the African American history in the corridor to urban habitat, and it's a really exciting initiative. It's led by Gail Wells, who are also our leader with Buffalo Freedom Gardens and a longtime grassroots gardener with the Coppertown Block Club. We're going to be working with the Block Club residents to teach them about native plants and rain gardens and stormwater management, because the basin we're in here, Basin 14, actually is at high risk for overflowing with stormwater, and so that was part of the impetus behind this. And then we'll have other demonstration rain gardens at Bennett Park Montessori School, at Harriet Tubman School, at the JFK Community Center, and then revitalizing the ones in the median. So the goal with this teaching garden is to really have mini gardens throughout where people can learn about different types of gardening. There'll be rain barrel stations here. We're going to have different kinds of composting stations set up. We're going to be getting a new gravel driveway, a green driveway soon. And then we've just added a pollinator buffet over here that I'll let Emmy tell you a little bit more about.
So behind me is a pretty large square foot garden. We have a medley of different varieties of vegetables. Our cold crops are just starting to finish up, but our summer squashes like our zucchini and our yellow squash, our tomatoes and peas are really starting to take off. And then in order to enhance our yield, we've created a pollinator buffet that lines Hickory Street. And we are trying to invite beneficial insects that will also help improve our garden's yield. So here we have a diverse planting of indigenous plants. Some of them are nativars, some are straight species, but it's a mix. So we have grasses, we do have the delphinium as an ornamental, but we have coreopsis, different kinds of goldenrod, cardinal flower, liatris, chelone, the turtle head, Joe pieweed, echinaceas, spiderwort. So we have enough diversity. There's also some small baptisias. And what we did here was we planted things bare root to help them establish. We planted them small so they can establish this year and really take off and fill in. And we did it in a meadow style plant where it's a mixed mosaic of different plants. Diversity of the plants, and also it extends and diversifies the flora cycle. So we have blooms starting from early spring with like our Imsonia and the Baptisia, going all the way out into fall with our goldenrod and New England aspen. So when you are going out to the nurseries and buying native plants for your garden, I always recommend requesting one of each, getting a cultivar of a native, or what we call a nativar, and a straight species, meaning its original form before it was bred for specific phenotypic features. And so like here we have this Lobelia cardinalis, but this is called Queen Victoria. and it has this red foliage to it, and that is not as beneficial to insects during their larval stage. The chemical in it that creates that color isn't as easy for its simple digestive system to utilize and eat, and that's really why we're trying to incorporate more natives, or encouraging those that don't have any natives in their gardens to plant more and diversify their gardens. So it's definitely something to think about, and they also produce less nectar, and their pollen is not as beneficial to the insects. So when we're really thinking about creating conservation space in our yards, it's definitely something you want to consider and ask when you're at the nursery, and really request for them to have more of straight species available. I believe that we can have a balance in our yards where we have both natives, nativars, and the plants that were pre-existing, which are more often than not foreign. There's definitely going to be a pollinator garden or a pollinator plant that's going to be really beautiful in your garden, and I encourage you to figure out which ones those are.
So this is our new Community Garden Resource Center. We moved here in July of 2019, and it was really important for us to relocate to the east side. A lot of people affiliate or associate Grassroots with the west side of Buffalo because that's where our oldest gardens are. We turned 25 this year, and it was kind of time to reassess where we needed to be in relation to community. We now have 50 Grassroots gardens on the east side of Buffalo, and so we wanted to be closer to them and also be more accessible on a very busy street with a bus stop, and be able to have our gardeners on the east side come here and participate, and our west side gardeners, because we're close to downtown, can access us either on public transportation or private cars. So come on inside. And so in this space, we host our committee meetings, our board meetings, time for the staff to sit and meet with the gardeners to plan things. So this is really the community space for the Community Garden Resource Center. We've grown so many of our committees since we moved here because we've had more people be able to participate being in this location. Sometimes we run out of space. We've realized our capacity is to probably have like 15 to 17 people here, and obviously now with COVID, everything has moved to online meetings, but it's been great to see such an uptick in participation and leadership from our community gardeners. This is where our staff reside when they're here. We are mostly working remotely now. We're in the field because of COVID, but we have several staff, including myself. So we met Emmy outside, who is our new community garden trainer. She really works to mentor all of our new gardeners in how to be a community gardener, how to grow food, how to grow native plants. Greg Wilder is our school garden leader and trainer, so he works with our 30 school gardens to get them up and growing and does a lot of classroom education with the kids. And then we also have a part-time operations assistant who helps me with all of our ordering of soil, seeds, lumber, those kinds of things. This year we've had some additional staff. We were able to have an AmeriCorps Vista, Maggie, with us for most of the last year. Maggie was our Niagara Falls coordinator, working with our network in Niagara Falls, where we have 10 gardens. And then Nicole was here from the UB School of Social Work as our Therapeutic Gardens program coordinator. And so it was great to bring a social worker student in-house with us to look at how we can utilize the gardens for therapeutic and holistic benefit in addition to growing food. This is our staff kitchen space. We wanted to have the staff have a little place, and then also when we host our harvest celebration, our gardeners can come in here. We do a big dinner usually once a year in the fall to celebrate the end of the season. These are our bike blenders, which are a popular new feature at our school gardens. So the kids can sit on the seats, they can attach the blender, they can harvest right from the garden. We bring some frozen fruit along and some orange juice or non-dairy milk, and they make a smoothie right on site.
That's
there
so
will
amazing.
usually be a line of children lined up, and when we've taken them to our friends at Explore More, we get a line of adults that want to participate too. So we ended up having to get a smaller one for the littlest kids so that everybody got a chance. Last, or kind of the end of our space, which is our storage garage. This was one of the features that really attracted us to the space. Previously, at our last space, we only had a small storage shed outside, and people could borrow tools, but there weren't many available because of the limitation in the size. We had previously also been in a studio apartment, so we've really quadrupled the space by moving here to Broadway, and part of that was having this garage so that the community gardeners can come and borrow tools as they need to. One of the things that we focus on at Grassroots is ensuring that everyone that wants to garden can garden, that you're not inhibited by finances from being able to do things like purchase seeds or tools. And so we have a number of tools here available. We also have a partnership with the tool library, so that if somebody needs bigger tools than we have, they can rent them there through our subscription. So we really want to be at this resource center, be able to offer these resources to the community at no cost. So we never charge fees to participate in the gardens. We never charge fees to have a plot or to start a garden, and then there are no fees involved with renting tools either. So if you're a Grassroots gardener, all of this is available for your use. Grassroots' mission is about strengthening neighborhoods through growing healthy food, through growing healthy communities. And so we did two things immediately as a response to COVID-19. One was to work with Coppertown Block Club, Buffalo Food Equity Network, and Food for the Spirit, Juneteenth Buffalo, to launch a program called Buffalo Freedom Gardens. We were able to work to build 50 raised bed gardens that went to families in neighborhoods hardest hit by coronavirus. And then we also have a new campaign with Feed More Western New York, where we're asking the gardeners to grow more food for surplus food donation this year. And so this bed, one of our other beds over here, all of this produce is going to our local food pantry down here on Pine Street. And then the rest of the garden is open for community harvest here. But it gave us an opportunity to do what is most important to us, which is to make sure people could grow food for self-agency and self-sufficiency. We've had more people than ever before this year call and ask how to get involved. In March and April, we were fielding probably 5 or 6 phone calls a day from people that wanted to know how to get started gardening. And so we've been able to meet that need, thanks to the generosity of some of our funders, to make sure that we could very quickly get the supplies needed to grow more food. We typically grow about 35,000 pounds of vegetables across the 113 gardens in our network, and this year we're aiming to try to increase that as much as 50,000 pounds. That's the goal. We're weighing everything. We've got a number of gardens participating in this. The network has really grown exponentially the last few years. 6 or 7 years ago, we had 40 gardens. This year, we have 113 registered with us across 2 cities. So it's really exploded from 300,000 square feet of growing space to over 1 million square footage now.